Hey guys, it's Adam Weingarten. Hey, today we're going to talk about aligning a player's character development, athletic development, and academic development on a year-round process. You know, as coaches, we all have a great mindset and have an expertise in developing the skills, the speed, the strength that we all need for our sport to perform at a high level, whether it's on a baseball field, a football field, a basketball court, or whatever arena it is that your sport competes in. We all have a mindset to train our guys year-round to be great performers. I want to challenge you in how we do in our program to want to have a process of developing them holistically in all three areas year-round, just like we would think from an athletic sense. Many times as coaches, we think that way athletically, but we fail to think that way from a character development standpoint and an academic development standpoint. We always say that what you do in one area is what you do in the other area. We want players to seek habits of excellence in their life, and that excellence isn't something that just shows up on Friday night. It just doesn't show up on a specific game day. It is something you decide every single day. From the moment you get up, what you decide to do, your approach to your classes, to your teachers, your approach to your parents and your community, your approach to your teammates, your approach to decision making off the field, all that translates to on-field performance. Because what you do in one area will always show up on the other area. Okay? And those things, if you are failing in those areas and you're having a tough time making good choices and having habits of excellence, you may get away with it for a period of time on the athletic field, but at some point it's going to show up. At some point your dependability is going to show up, your teachable spirit is going to show up. All those type things is going to be needed for high-level performance. So we want to plan for our guys in every area of their life, okay? So we have to have a mindset that we're not just going to plan for our players on a 12-month cycle to improve athletically. We're going to have the same cycle for them to improve in character development and in academic development. And today I'm going to talk to you about how to line those things up and have the same thought process in all three. So if you looked at a player's life and looked at them as a Venn diagram, you would see that they're all interconnected, okay? And their ultimate performance is going to be what you see in the middle, okay? So when you're looking at the entire year, you want to think about this way. What are the different phases I have in each area of the year, okay? So we're going to look at our basic phases, and we're going to start with athletic development, and then we're going to move to character development and academic development. And I'm going to show you quickly how to put this into a calendar format. So if we looked at the first phase of the total player in athletic development, we'll look at the phases of the year that we have to evaluate. And it's really important that we look at those phases and first identify what are the objectives that we want to have in each area to help lead them to be their best. So for us, the four phases that we have, okay, would be the off-season phase, the spring practice phase, the preseason phase, your in-season phase, and postseason phase. Okay, and if you look on here, we have identified what is the purpose of each area. For instance, in the off-season phase, we want to develop the total athlete and prepare them for maximized performance and evaluation of spring. Set player goals. All right, so we're trying to develop them the best we can, just so we can evaluate them in the spring and see how they perform and what their skill set is, all right? And then we take that evaluation, then it builds to the next season, which is their preseason. Every phase of your year should build upon the next. So we take that evaluation phase, and that determines what we're going to do in the summer phase or the preseason phase, all right? And that's going to guide us to the in-season phase, all right? And then once we get through with the season, we're able to evaluate how we play throughout the year, and that gives us our postseason evaluation. It helps lead us back into the off season. And for us, we break the off season down into two different cycles, okay? So with that, if you're looking at that, we know the purpose of each area, okay? And then we want to give each area a process so that we can improve. So we always say this: every player wants a year. They want your evaluation, your assistance, and then your reinforcement, okay? Repeat that: your evaluation, your assistance, and then your reinforcement. So every player wants an evaluation. They want an opinion from you, and and they want an assessment. People want feedback. Feedback makes them feel valued, okay? They want assistance, all right? They want a chance to be taught. They want you to give them a plan to improve, and they also want a chance to prove back to you. That's very, very important, okay? And then they want a chance for some reinforcements, all right? Once they've had their chance to prove to you, they want to know how they did. They need affirmation, all right? So positive feedback or negative feedback or how they can improve from there. They want to know their personal value. They want to know their rewards, all right? And so you want to be able to give them that process in all phases: your evaluation, your assistance, and then your reinforcement, okay? So right now, let's look at what is that process for us in athletic development. We'll look at the off-season phase. We have the winter phase and the spring phase. Remember, we couldn't put this into 2 cycles. So you can see our evaluation is testing their speed, their strength. Their assistance is how we're training them, our different cycles of training. Then our reinforcement is giving them rewards, accomplishing goals, that type of thing. In spring practice, how do we evaluate? Through skill evaluations and scrimmages. All right? How do we assist them? Through our drill work and our two-way player practice. All right? What's their reinforcement? They know where they are on the depth chart. Okay, we reinforce them with player expectations for the summer, how to get better. And that leads us into the preseason camp, summer phase, and fall camp. And you can see how we evaluate there through our competitions, our running tests, our practice evals, how we assist them through the different training methods, what our reinforcement is to have them accomplish through summer goals, player evals at the end of the summer, summer competitions, and then how we evaluate them in the season, all right, which is through game results, how we grade how they play, all right, their in-season lifting meetings, their game schedules, and then how we reinforce them through team awards, postseason evaluations, and player grades, okay? So if you just look at athletic development, we can all simply do that. We can look at those 5 phases, how we split those up, all right, what are your objectives in each area, and then give them a process of evaluation, assistance, okay, and then reinforcement, all right? That's really important. All right, so think about that process that we can all do from athletically. Now let's apply that same process to our players from an academic standpoint and then from a character development standpoint, okay? So let's look at how we would do that from an academic sense, all right? Well, from an academic sense, we may not have the same type process because of in-season, postseason, but our year is split up into semesters or quarters. All right, and then we have the summertime if people are in summer school and that type of thing. All right, so we would split this up into quarters. All right, our first quarter, our second quarter, our third quarter, our fourth quarter, then we would call the other phase. And then we would have objectives or purposes behind each one. All right, so if you look at this simply, I'm going to skim through this. If you look at the first quarter, what is our big objective here? All right, well, it's to begin the school year with great habits and to gather baseline data on our overall player academic performance. This data is going to drive our assistance. All right, so we start the year, we see how our players are doing, we take this data, and that tells us what we need to do next with them. How much assistance do they need? What kind of assistance do they need? All right, and how strong are we and how weak are we in some areas? So now we lead to the next thing. Remember, just like we talked about in athletic development, how one season leads to the next, it's the same thing in academics as well. Okay, so the first quarter should lead to your second quarter. Now you have an idea how they can do, what they're struggling in, so you know what kind of assistance you need to give them. All right, and that should lead to the third quarter, and the fourth quarter will help them finish the year off strong. Okay, so if you take this same process, you have the academic year split up. All right, now we're going to look at what is the year process for them academically. All right, what is your evaluation, what is your assistance, and then what is your reinforcement. Okay, so let's look at it. All right, you look at our first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. Look at the evaluation methods. Do grade checks, zero checks, leadership teams, transcripts, that type thing. That's how we're evaluating how they were doing. Okay. Zero checks for us is very important because it falls back into the category of something you can always control. So we demand excellence out of our players in everything they do. So if they're a straight A student, we want them to be their best. All right. If we're a B student, we want them to be their best. If all they can make is C's or D's, then we want them to be the best they can be. All right. So we're going to hold them accountable. You can be an A student and have a zero on your grade report, and we're going to hold you accountable for it. All right. You can be a C student and not have any zeros on your report card, and we're going to reward you positively for that. All right. That falls back to our 3 A's, which is attendance, assignments, and attitude. Okay. We want you to push to be your best. Those are things you can always control. So what is our assistance areas in each area that go through the quarters? Well, we have school tutoring. We have our care program. We have progress meetings. Okay. With the third quarter phase, that's when our leadership teams start taking off. All right. So those are incorporated into academic accountability. We have at-risk coaches. All right. Then we have eligibility training and recruiting seminars that we do with our players. All right. So if you look at our reinforcement, we do progress meetings with them. Here we have an honor roll for our football program. So every player grades 7 through 12 has an opportunity to be on the honor roll and be rewarded at the end of their season and at the end of their school year. All right. And when they graduate from here, if they've been on the honor roll their entire career, then they get a big plaque that honors them for their consistency. So if you look at it, it goes back to an intentional mindset of the same way we think about athletics. We're going to take the year progress of building upon itself athletically to be the best player we can be. Now we're going to take the year progress to be the best student we can be, and we're going to create an intentional process to help them develop to be the best athlete and to be the best student, okay? And that's just 2 parts of the holistic player, all right? So now let's think about this. How do we have that mindset with character development? Well, it's no different, okay? Now we're going to look at the entire year and what are the phases of the year. Well, with character development, it's the same as athletic development. You're going to look at your athletic periods of time, then you're going to plug in character development with that, okay? So let's look at it. We have an off-season phase, a spring practice phase, preseason, in-season, and postseason. Again, every period of time should build upon another. It's just like if you're walking by windows. Every window should offer the next viewpoint, okay? So it should all build like bricks building a wall, okay? So if you look here at the off-season phase, we're beginning a process to develop our team culture, our leadership through team training, specific programs, etc. We go to spring practice, we're evaluating our team leadership, we're evaluating our team chemistry, and how far have we come through the winter phase. So now that we have the different times of the years categorized into different periods for character development, then we have to have the same process for a year. Your evaluation, your assistance, and then your reinforcement. So how are we going to do this with character development? Well, let's look. If you go back and we look at our phases, with your off-season, spring practice, preseason, in-season, and postseason, you'll see our different evaluations, all right? We have stakeholder planning, which means we talk with everybody in our program and find out ways we can improve and things we're doing well. All right, they talk about addressing our overall team needs. And what you decide to do with your team needs to be based off your greatest needs. Spring practice, we base this off of how we train, our training days, all right, and how we evaluate our overall team attitude and competitive spirit. In preseason, it's going to be through our summer training, team competitions, how we behave and perform together in player-involved events, all right, team competitions, that type thing. In season, obviously, it's through our team performance and how we deal with success and adversity in game situations. Then in postseason evaluation, it's recapping the season, right? Going back and looking through how we did and what we need to do better. Our assistance is what we're trying to teach. How are we taking that evaluation and what are we going to do to teach the evaluation? So if we just look at the off-season phase, we would teach through our teams programs, which is our competition teams, our leadership teams, through our Words Before Weights program, where that's a program where every player in our team has a day they have to speak to the team and give a quote, something a saying that means a lot to them, and explain it to the team so they get a chance to do their own individual character development with the team. Our whole program does a book study. That's grades 7 through 12. So every Wednesday we go through a chapter of the book, and in this season, every Wednesday a different leadership team is actually leading the lesson with a team. We talk through what are the concerns and challenges that our team faces off the field and on the field, and each week they have to pick a different lesson, a topic, and individually as a team in their groups they have to discuss it and address those things within the whole group and whole team. Okay, we have our newcomer program that we'll start in spring practice. Core leadership training in the summer. That's something we take all of our juniors and seniors off, and we develop a vision for our team. Our personal evaluations, we call them plus 10 evaluations. You look at in season, our Tuesday and Thursday fellowship time, B plus C equals O, which is belief plus choice equals outcomes program that we do every Thursday night. Then our care program, which is caring assistance, realizing excellence. So if we looked at each phase, the athletic part, academics, and then character, they all three work the same. All right, you have to look at the entire year, split the year up into periods, give each period an objective. All right, what do we want to accomplish in this time frame? Because they should all build upon each other. Think about a player throughout a season. He should be better at the end than he was at the beginning. So there's a building block process to that. Okay, and that's not just athletically. That's in character development and academic development. And then in each phase that you've set objective in, they have to have a year, your evaluation, your assistance, and then your reinforcement, okay? This is just an intentional way of thinking to look at holistic development and to make sure that you are planning for them in every phase of their life. Because remember, we're after players with habits of excellence, okay? Because what we do in one thing will show up in the other thing. And the more consistency we have individually, the more successful we're going to be. And as a team, the more successful we're going to be because every team is made up of great individuals, okay? All right, so we look at this and you say, well, how do we do this? Well, I want to tell you, you need to have a calendar, all right? So once you have planned this out, then take your calendar and simply plug in what you're going to do during those phases, all right? That's really, really important and really, really key for you just for your mental frame of mind so you can focus on the task at hand, not worry about all the things in advance because this can be overwhelming. When you start looking at all the stuff that you want to do to help your players holistically, you can question yourself very fast and say, how am I going to get all this done? It's going to be really, really hard. I don't have time to do all this. Well, you do have time to do it, all right? You just need to have an intentional thought process, all right, and then focus intentionally during specific things right in front of you and be the best at those things. And I promise you, you'll turn around, you'll have accomplished a ton, your players have gotten better, and it won't be as stressful as you think, okay? So let's look at this. Let's simply look at the month of January for us. Let's look at it. If you look on our calendar, you're going to see our workout dates for athletic development, all right, what workout that will be. All right, you also see on there different position listings for specific positions, specific skills we're going to teach on that day for that group. You can see on there where it has our character development days, the days that we're going to talk through our book study. All right, on there also it says our Dean Road partnership. That means we're taking our players from community service at that time to elementary school, where every player in our team is assigned to a classroom. We call that program Books and Biceps. Under that, you also see a team name. Okay, that is the specific team that is going to be presenting that day on character development, talking about the concerns and challenges that we have as a team. On a lot of the days right here, we didn't put player names in here, we just put John Doe. But in our calendar, we have every player's name has a day. They know that's their day for Words Before Weights. So if it was Adam Weingarten, my name may be under March 7th. Well, I know March 7th, I'm going to have to stand in front of the team and talk about something, a quote or some saying that is important to me that drives me, and I'm going to get a chance to explain that to the entire team. If you look on Friday where it says Tiger League, that's where we have competition day. They earn points for standings within their teams, and at the end of, right before spring break, or the end of the quarter, we'll have a tournament, and all their points will put them in a standings list for seeding. All right, so before spring break, we'll have a big tournament, and it'll be the Tiger Championship of the World. They'll have a lot of fun. You also see in there it says academic check. zero check. Okay, they've had a few weeks of school, and we're going to evaluate their progress and hold them accountable for assignments turned in or assignments missing. Okay, so if you look at the calendar, you can see that we basically took what we're looking at periodization wise. What are our objectives? What are things we can do to evaluate them and assist them? And we just plug it into the calendar. So we know when we get to those days, that's all we have to do, all right? And so it is just an intentional process of having this lined up. And we have a calendar that runs all the way from January to January, okay? And so we just look at each phase and we plug those things in. It allows us to be intentional, have a mindset of pursuing excellence day by day to help our players holistically be the best they can be, okay? Guys, thank you for your time. That's a quick snapshot of what it takes to help plan for your players and align athletic, academic, and character development. Thank you guys again. Hey, remember, you're born to be special.